Bill Thompson for Polywatch, talking to Stephen Conroy this evening. Mate, thank you very much for stopping to chat with me. I was all in favour of your commentary on the plebiscite for same-sex marriage. Can you just reprise your view on that?
I don't believe that voluntary voting is the way to go. I don't believe a voluntary plebiscite is the way to go. I believe in referendum-style issues where it's compulsory to vote. I believe that the will of the people is not represented by 51% of 60% of people. That's only 31% of people actually expressed an affirmative, which means that 70% either didn't care or didn't agree. That's not democracy.
Look, absolutely fair enough. I was in favour of a compulsory plebiscite from years ago when this first became a big issue. And I was disappointed that the Parliament blocked that, and I think the postal survey was the best we could get.
No, but I don't believe in citizen initiated referenda on any issue. I believe we live in a representative democracy, and people misunderstand that we're in a representative democracy. And you elect people for 3 years. John Howard didn't put it to the vote. I was in Parliament.
Right.
I was in Parliament when John Howard made it a man and a woman.
Yes.
He didn't say, I need to go to the vote. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's fine for people to suddenly say they believe in this. No one demanded John Howard hold a plebiscite or a referendum when he decided to change the marriage law. Okay, so it is absolutely hypocritical for people now to say, hey, no, you shouldn't change this unless there's a referendum. No one demanded that of John Howard then, and John Howard was right. We live in a representative democracy.
Mate, I'm very much against hypocrites, and it concerns me that I could be labelled a hypocrite.
I think I've caught you.
No. In 2004, I think the view of the public in general was they were happy with the notion that marriage was between a man and a woman.
You didn't need to change the parliamentary law. People were happy with how things worked. But John Howard saw an opportunity. There was a politics, I don't deny that, but he did not say, I think I should go to a referendum to get the approval of people. Because next will be the death penalty, next will be abortion, next will be a whole bunch of issues that goes on. Some on the left will hate and some on the right will hate. No, that's what Parliament's for. I'm in the elected parliamentarians, you pay parliamentarians, they should do their job. And just because Malcolm Turnbull couldn't get his will and position through the Liberal Party, we're going through this farce.
Look, there are some issues that I think should be put to the people, and in fact...
But that's where we're going to... All I'm saying is that's where we'll disagree. There's a line where I say, because you might say, okay, what are your 3 issues you think you should? And someone else come along just as
organ donation. Organ donation is one that I think should be decided by the people.
Just as passionately argue for 3 other things. Adani coal mine should be banned. Let's have a referendum on it. Okay? So you're going to put yourself in a position where you're going to moralise, and I don't mean that in a majority.
No.
But I think here's where the line is. Because someone else will come along with just as much passion on an issue. An environmentalist on Adani, for instance, are just as passionate. They're just as passionate. And they'll say, no, it should be wood chipping, it should be old growth forest.
Right.
And they will argue just as passionately as you might around organ donation.
Well, Adani, I'm agnostic on it to a certain extent.
Well, I don't think the government should be putting money into it. This is a mine that should stand on its own 2 feet.
Well, it should, no doubt.
So that's my view. I'm in favour of the mine in general, but it's got to stand on its own 2 feet.
Yeah.
I support Anastasia Palaszczuk's position on it. I think it's ultimately will be to the benefit of the people of Queensland and Australia, but not if you're given $1 billion worth of loans to the mine like this. That's Malcolm Turnbull is the most interventionist minister since me. I mean, he's calling in executives, he's attacking banks, he's giving money to industries he wants to support. I mean, this guy is...
The shipbuilding industry in South Australia, that's right.
You can go
not for cheap votes.
No. All policy principles. Just not Liberal Party policy principles.
Yeah, but look, the government funding of things or support for things is topical now because of Adani, perhaps. We've just seen Toyota close today and Ford last year. And
here you have it. $1 billion would have saved the car industry in this country and actually created 5,000 jobs, as opposed to the $1 billion that he's giving to Adani. And Adani keeps saying, no, stop saying there's thousands of jobs in this, because there's not. Okay, so I support where necessary governments to intervene into the marketplace. I did that. I can't be accused of being a hypocrite on this. I believe there's a role for government. That puts me in a different party to the free market liberals, except they're more left than I am nowadays.
Mate, I have owned 2 Aussie-made Camry hybrids, and they were among the best cars that I've ever had.
That's
And I've
attractive.
owned about 150 cars, most of which have been Australian built.
Joe Hockey stood on the floor of Parliament, and he dared the car companies
Well,
to leave, and they did.
And they did. And
But
look,
for $1 billion, you could have kept all of those jobs, modernised the sector, not given $1 billion to Adani for almost no net jobs.
what concerned me about the continual propping up of the car industry was my impression, and I could be wrong, that every time the government handed out $100 million, the car manufacturers just turned around and handed it straight to the unions and the staff. Now, that's not to say that their workers shouldn't get well paid for their work, but if taxpayers' money was being handed out to an industry that wasn't going to survive without taxpayer handouts.
But the Adani mine might not survive.
Well, absolutely.
And so it falls into that exact same category. And if I was to do a cost-benefit analysis on the mine with a few hundred jobs and 5 to 10,000, well, they estimate across the country 50,000 jobs, I'll stay with the car industry every day.
So would I.
No, but I think I'm on this show under false pretenses. You say it's Polly Watch. I'm an ex-Polly.
Okay. All right, mate. Good on you. Thanks very much.